From Wall Street to Main Street, this is Lalate.
It's a big morning and a big early morning of Lalate with incredible great news about your fourth stimulus check update of 2021. As a $3.5 trillion recon passed, and now viewers of this channel are being set to get upwards of about $15,000 for this incredible $3.5 trillion recon. Cluster number 1 passed hazard pay and elder care. Cluster number 2 has home repairs and paid leave in there passed. And then cluster number 3 with a big exclusive about seniors and free internet pass. That $3.5 trillion recon, everything staying in there and only things changing on the back end, but it's still an issue in flux. And guess what? Leader Schumer's office telling viewers this channel he'll be adding in an IRS stimulus check. It's after no less than 1,000 viewers of this channel have been told over the last 8 weeks that an IRS stimulus check provision is being added, and now we have a date of a vote. Yes, that vote is less than 20 days away, with the tow truck over the finish line, the tow hitched up, and $3.5 trillion of checks in there, but still a place for the advocates of the Purple Hawks to pounce, because advocacy starts right here and starts right now. We'll be going over how to get big sums of money, no less than $80,000 available this week, not 5 weeks from now and not 5 months from now. We got a big, bold, beautiful morning broadcast because the toast is toasting, the butter is buttering. I'm here, you're here, and a big week is starting right now. What an exciting week it is, as we have a date now set for your recon by Halloween. The president making the announcement. This is after cluster number 1, 2, and 3 passed in that House subcommittee no less than 2 weeks ago. That $3.5 trillion recon, but it's not a bill. It's still in flux, and they can still add things in there. And guess what they say to the viewers of this channel, and what Sanders' office did praising this channel going into the weekend. I'll go over what's happening this week with the push to add in those IRS stimulus checks on top of that. And on top of a recon that's already paying upwards of about $15,000 a person. Then we'll be going back to the big money you can get right now, not 5 weeks from now, not 5 months from now, upwards of $80,000. It's a big, bold, beautiful morning because the toast is toasting, the butter is buttering. I'm here, you're here, and a big early morning's broadcast starts right now. So subscribe. 400,000 subscribers, a YouTube record. This is the channel that's making history once again, pushing to advocate for your IRS stimulus check inclusion in a past recon that's not a bill, it's just a package. So become part of this incredible family right now. Like the video, 2,000-3,000 likes, and consider becoming a member. Let's cut to the details starting right now. We have a date now set for the vote on your recon and your budget and your roads and bridges. But the recon package, not bill, passed no less than 2 weeks ago with 3 clusters of checks in there, and those clusters would pay you upwards of at least $15,000 for most viewers of this channel. Let's go over all those incredible checks they're sending out to you in these clusters passed. Cluster number 1, hazard pay and elder care. This is huge. It starts with this right now. They took the EI, the Earned Income Tax Credit, and broadened the eligibility. So now more people qualify for it, and now essential workers would get more money. Then they took an incredible provision, up to $4,000 a year of elder care, put it in their pass, up to $4,000 a year for children's care as well. They got home repairs in there for low-income communities. Wow, free money for that. Then grants to the university, grants to the college students, and then the Pell Grant made tax-free. They got $51,000 of monthly stimulus checks in there as well. It's a CTC credit, yes, the child tax credit, broaden the eligibility and increase in the amount of money, so more people would get it. This is up to $300 a month, every year, for upwards of 18 years. $51,000 per child. Then they got grants, then they got money in there for bikes, cars, and trucks, all electric and all U.S. auto manufactured. up to 15% of the purchase price of a new electric bike, $7,500 for a new electric vehicle, and a little bit more if it's an electric for business use or a truck. Wow. That's the first clusters of checks in that $3.5 trillion recon bust. But what are the other checks that coming out to you in that second cluster? The second cluster starts with paid leave and more home repairs. Wow. Let's go over the second cluster of checks that got passed in that subcommittee of the House. And here we go. They got home repairs and paid leave. But before we go over that, let's remember that this recon is for everyone. It's nationwide. It's for red states. It's for blue states. It's for SSI. It's for SSDI. It's for everyone. Single individuals and married couple. Everyone across the board. First, they got paid leave. This is a lot of money, up to $1,700 a year if you make $70,000 or more as your annual income, split in half. $35,000 annual salary, $800 a week. Then $400 a week if you make $15,000 or more per year annual income. This is paid family leave, paid medical leave. Family leave, you have to stay at home because your wife is pregnant. Medical leave, you have to stay at home because your son broke his leg. Then they got money in there for weatherizing your home. Yeah, more free money for that home, this time for weatherizing it, like Hurricane Alley or a tornado zone or a fire area. Weatherizing your home, definitely needed if the moderate Democrats are on the roof. As I always say, keep the moderate Democrats out of the House, and whenever possible, keep the moderate Democrats out of the Senate. There you go. Then they got checks in the second cluster passed, including childcare programs, tax credits like household tax credits, and then checks for seniors. More about those in the third cluster. And then they got pre-kindergarten, totally free, and free tuition-free community college. Wow. Definitely needed to take that class, as some viewers are, called What the World is LA Saying 101. Now, if you don't understand what I'm saying, you can take the class on What Am I Saying? And if you want to be fluent in that foreign language for the people that talk really funny, Los Angeles. Yeah, now you can take that foreign language class on Los Angeles, LLA 202. Well, what's going on in the third cluster? Before we get to the third cluster, what is Congress doing? Congress is working all this week to finish the recon because guess what? The President and Nancy Pelosi have now set a date no later than Halloween. By Halloween, they're going to call the vote on the recon and the roads and bridges. As one viewer over the weekend said, did you say they're calling the vote on Halloween? They can't. It's a Sunday. I know they can't because they also don't have their costume ready. It's not on Halloween, by Halloween. Now, what are you waiting for Halloween? Jump in the live chat and post your comments. Is anyone dressing up as me for Halloween? Hope you're not dressing up as Nancy. You don't have the hairstyle right. There we go. Now let's turn to the third cluster of checks, and these are incredible. The third cluster of checks, and I have a big world exclusive on this one as well, is also checks for seniors and free internet. Cluster number three's checks include free school meals for all checks, checks for cheaper prescription medication, checks for free internet, checks for farmers, checks for clean energy, checks for workers like independent contractors, and checks for seniors like dental, vision, and hearing care. Well, here comes a world exclusive. They're going to reduce the Medicare age under the third cluster, but to what age? One viewer now reports, Lorica, that Bob Casey's office indicates negotiations are looking at dropping the Medicare eligibility age from 65 to 60. You're hearing it for the world exclusive right on this channel right now today. Well, two of the checks in this third cluster the president particularly likes, I like because they're instant savings to you. First, cheaper prescription medication. How would this work? For example, you go to the pharmacist today and say, hello, Mr. Pharmacist, I have a really bad headache. Oh, what's wrong, LA? Listening to the moderate Democrats too often? Yeah, exactly. How did you know? Do you have a solution for this, Mr. Pharmacist? I do. Seats for stimulus. Thank you. I want a prescription. Oh, yeah, that'd be $40. You take two $20 bills out of your wallet. Now, when you go to refill that prescription after this becomes a law, it may only be $20 because instantly they're saving money on your wallet by slashing the prescription prices. Then they're going to offer free internet. Every city, county, state will be given big money from the federal government to offer their own internet company. Really great. All you have to do is reach out and get the username and password. Now, one viewer said, that you're missing out on the router. There's a router involved. I said, yeah, but that's not part of my joke. There's no router jokes out there. So all you have to do is reach out to get the username and password. The username is San Francisco Hairstyle, and the password is Mitch's Lobster Fest. There you go. Well, here you go. Coming up in a second, we'll go over more about how they get this recon together and what they're doing with the recon. But now let's turn to the big details of those IRS stimulus checks. The recon at the moment is a package passed on a House floor. Let's back it up. We first had a recon procedural vote. Passed on the House, passed on the Senate, became law. The tow truck passed over the finish line. Time to hitch up the tow hitch. They did. And they passed in that House subcommittee 2 weeks ago the recon substantive package. That's not a law yet. It's just in a subcommittee. It's put on the back of the tow hitch. But it ain't over the finish line because first, they got to put it to a bill. It's not a bill yet. Then they got to put it to a vote on the House floor. Not there yet. And then they can make changes on the House floor. What's important to understand is at the moment, there is no stimulus checks in there, in addition to these nearly probably $15,000 of checks you'll get from this recon. There's no IRS stimulus checks in there yet, but they can add them. And they've represented they will add them. Two opportunities where to add. House side, Senate side. Let's do House side. First, they can add it into the recon before it becomes a bill. So Sheila Jackson, she's the number 2 chair in the House, in the Progressives. She wrote the recon that was passed. She can modify it and add it in there. They can get it ready before it's a House bill. Then, if it's not at House bill status, then they can modify it before they call vote on the House bill. Remember, they have several hours or days before they vote on the House bill, making modifications. That's where they can add it as well. But they also have the Senate side. When the senators receive whatever's from the House and they look at it and say, you're leaving something out here, they can add it in during a 2-day event called the Vote-A-Rama. The Vote-A-Rama is a 2-day event at which senators make changes to whatever they got from the House. Who oversees the Vote-A-Rama? Chuck Schumer. Who determines when things are called for a vote during the Vote-A-Rama? Chuck Schumer. Who determines when things are called for a vote during a particular day of the Vote-A-Rama? Chuck Schumer. And which senator said going into the weekend and the week before, his staff, that he's inserting an IRS stimulus check provision in there? Not that guy, the other guy, Chuck Schumer. You're going to say Bernie, weren't you? Chuck Schumer's office, going into last weekend, Chuck Schumer's office with Debbie Applegate said, yes, he's adding that stimulus check provision. This is a huge one because that's what you want. You want that backup on the Senate because they go last and they can add it at the very 11th hour. The week before that, Donnie's wife reaching out to Schumer's office and getting the same confirmation as well. If you missed the details on Saturday, let's go over what happened. Bernie Sanders' top aide in D.C. reached out to a viewer to give us a further update of Sanders, this channel, and you. And this is what the viewer explains in her message to me about what that top aide said. Now, this is not a Sanders secretary. This is not a Sanders staffer or the person who picks out the orchids. This is a top aide. The top aide from Sanders' D.C. office reports that through yesterday, which was Friday, they had received nearly 1 million calls from the viewers of Lalate and the Purple Power. The advocacy has been making waves, so the Senate. This is the first time that many Senate and House members, officials, and their staff have truly heard from the people, and now they not only have a heavy hearts, but a renewed sense of urgency to help out those in need and help out through their good work. Our advocacy has been so strong, so heartfelt, and so polite that it's never just for ourselves, it is also for the communities. Wow, this is huge. With Sanders' office now reaffirming that there's over 1 million of you who have called and have advocated for that inclusion of that stimulus check provision. This is after no less than thousands of viewers of this channel have been told that it's going in there. They have been told that by Coons, Sanders, Warren, Schumer, Casey, and Wyden on the Senate side, and on the House side, AOC, Omar, and Jalapal, and also Pelosi. But now Sanders saying the staff is taking note of your messages with 1 million of you making the calls. The news is just getting started with a date now set for that recon. We got a lot coming up, and we got more coming up after the commercial break. But first, here's a little bit about the community page. And the heat is on. I'll see you back in 60 seconds. If you want money right now, not 5 days from now, and not 5 weeks from now, then reach out to the community page. The volunteers can help you find that money for rent and utilities. That's at news.la.com/community. The community page features a series of volunteers who are viewers like you. They can help you find rent, utilities, SNAP, food benefits, mortgage assistance, and help you with eviction moratorium questions as well. Their Facebook, Twitter, and Instagram individuals reach out to them and indicate the city and state you're from, and they'll get back to you shortly. That's a community page. Volunteers working for you, viewers helping one another. Stay with LA for more. Join Lalate Daily for the excitement of the new Lalate live daily. The excitement starts on mornings Lalate at 9 a.m. Home Lalate returns at 11 a.m. daily. And then afternoons Lalate at 1 p.m. Join us daily as the excitement continues live from Santa Monica on Lalate. And the excitement continues right now on early mornings Lalate as boy, the toast is toast and the butter is butter and the coffee is brewing. I'm here, you're here, and the excitement's unfolding. We'll go over more about that incredible statement from Bernie Sanders' office and what it means for you and your IRS stimulus checks. We'll be going over the voting process and the modifications from the recon all this week because remember, it's not a bill yet. They're making modifications. We'll explain where the modifications will be and what items are staying in, what items are going out, or at all, and what the changes could be on the back end. Then we'll go over the big money that you can get right now, not 5 weeks from now, and not 5 months from now. It's this week. You're going to end the week with money, and I'm going to show you how you do it. It's all happening right now because the toast is toasting and the butter is buttering and the coffee is brewing. So subscribe. 400,000 subscribers on YouTube record. I want you part of this incredible family. We got a big week ahead of us, so stay with me all throughout the week. 10 days away, 20 days away from this voting day. Also like this video and consider becoming a member. Let's cut to all the exciting details, but more back to that big surprise that no one saw coming. It is that statement from Sanders' office. Sanders' office had been in communications with a viewer before this message, and Sanders' office had said before that, well, your channel is really bringing the advocacy to another level. The update is this message. Let's go over what the message basically says. That prior to this channel, congressional leaders never received advocacy like this from American citizens. They receive advocacy from lobbyists, who I'm going to be featuring later in this video, that are calling up on behalf of the travel industry or the airline industry. They've never had advocates coming from viewers, and now they feel the wonderfulness of it. They now see that this advocacy has swept the Senate offices of these Democrats. They're hearing your messages and understanding the importance of doing what they've represented that they would do, which is that inclusion of that stimulus check provision. With the recon still in flux, everything is happening, and advocacy is important, and let's go over what this advocacy looks like and where it started. It started 8 weeks ago where I said pick up the phone and call, and WR did, longtime viewer of this channel, picked up the phone and called for the inclusion of that stimulus check, advocate for it. And he spoke to Senator Chris Coons, Democrat, Delaware, Joe Biden's confidant, and said, yes, I want it in there. And Coons' office said, yes, it's going in there. Monthly stimulus check. It was 3 weeks ago I shared a lot of exclusives on this channel. You saw this channel really pick up at the time. I said the House subcommittee would be writing the legislation. They did. Sheila Jackson, the number 2 progressive, writing the legislation and setting it for a vote. I told you the House subcommittee would vote first. They did 2 Saturdays ago, passed your $3.5 trillion recon. And I told you the Senate's going to vote last. Well, that's what's going on. Also, Bernie Sanders is critical to the equation. Bernie Sanders is the guy who got the $3.5 trillion price tag and the man who is the chairman of the the Senate Budget Committee. 3 weeks ago, he said a critical quote, which is, unlike prior budget chairman, I like to get out amongst the people when I'm doing a budget bill. That means he wants to hear from you. He wants to hear your advocacy. And I said, pick up the phone and advocate to him. Brother Joshua did, Lynn Glenn did, and Margaret did. And all got the confirmation that it's going in there, that IRS monthly stimulus check. Now let's cut over to what is advocacy if you're new to this channel, and what is not advocacy. Advocacy involves telling why you need something. I need the money because. It involves a series of sentences with periods at the end of the sentence, not question marks, periods. And it involves perhaps talking about your financial situation or your medical situation or your business or your town or your community. I need the money because of my legs, because of what happened to my back. I need it because of my divorce. I need it because of what's going on with my business. I need to go with what's going on with my church, my town, my community, my husband, my wife, my children. Everyone has a unique story. And that's what Santa's office told this viewer, that they've never seen advocacy like this. That's because I taught you how to do it. I said, talk about yourself and your family, because everyone has a unique story. When you're on the other side and you're picking up the phone, you don't particularly know as a staffer that town or that community. You have never seen it perhaps or never even heard of it, but you can certainly understand a story, a narrative, what's going on with the person. And that's why they are blown away with your professionalism, respectfulness, and your ability to advocate. And that's what advocacy looks like. Now let's go over what's not advocacy. What's not advocacy? Dora the Check Explorer. Just talking with questions. Am I getting a check? When is the check coming? Is it definitely going in the bill? Is it definitely coming out? How much is it? Is it $1,200? Is it $1,400? When? Will it? Won't it? Is it? Isn't it? No, that's not advocacy. That doesn't get you anywhere. Remember, we have a recon. That's not a bill yet. That's still in flux. And things are in there, and some senators and some legislators, you're going to see Maxine Waters in a second, she's worried her provisions coming out. She's not sitting around asking, are you taking out my provision? No, she's writing letters saying, don't take out my provision. She's giving speeches saying, don't take out my provision. And lobbyists are stepping forward saying, add in provisions. Well, that's what we're doing. And that's what advocacy is. And that's what Brother Joshua did. 2020 volunteers at the community page helped viewers across the board get big sums of money. Purple Hawk, and also viewer, this longtime viewer. He picked up the phone and advocated for himself, his church, and his family. And Santa's office said yes. $1,000 to $1,400, 3 to 6 months, 3 to 6 months, but needs to hear from you. And you step forward. I said, pick up the phone and advocate and say why you need it. Say what you need this for. And boy, did you ever. Let's turn to Donnie, because Donnie heard my message and Donnie picked up the phone and advocated. And you're going to see a series of screen grabs. And also they are from either on the channel or in the live chat. And this is what Donnie wrote. Donnie wrote, I called Santa's office. I said, my city needs it. I need it for my water. I need it for everything. And Santa's office said, yes. Fourth stimulus check is going in there. Advocacy continued across the board with Tina, who picked up the phone saying, I need it. My family needs it. And Tina writes, yes, they told me it's going in there. Santa's office. Here's a lawyer who advocated. Here is Yaya, who picked up the phone and advocated. And Santa's office saying, yes, it's going, that Ronald Wyden's office saying, yes, he's going to do that. And the SS-200. Here's Carolyn. Carolyn writes, I told them people are losing their homes and everything they got, and Bernie's office said, yes, Stimmy is going in there. By that point, I made very clear to viewers that you're telling a story. The more people you can tell the story to, the better. Don't just tell it to one person. Tell as many offices as you can, and that's what Will did. He picked up the phone and called 3 different offices. Janice has now called, I think, 7 offices. Bless her. So this is what Will writes. I called Bernie, I called Liz, I called Chuck Schumer, and all 3 secretaries confirmed the stimulus check is going in there. I explained my situation and why I need this money, why I would make a huge impact. And Liz Warren's office said $1,400 to $2,000, 6 to 12 months, and there you go. At that point, we had Lorica as well picking up the phone and calling Bob Casey's office, and Casey's office saying, yes, thank you for your advocacy. We're doing that negotiations right now for the amounts of the stimulus checks. 1,000+ viewers. I don't know how many thousands it is. I mean, Bernie Sanders' office says they've gotten 1 million calls. I've been saying a couple thousand viewers. It could be 10,000. Maybe it's 100,000. I have no idea how many it is that have now been told have now advocated for that inclusion of that stimulus check provision into the recon, and have been told by senators they're adding it in there. Coons, Sanders, Warren, Schumer, Casey, Wyden, telling viewers, thousands and thousands and thousands of viewers after they advocate it's going in there. And then on the House side as well, AOC Omar, Jalapal, Pelosi, and AOC saying it's going to go in there as well. It's important to remember, this is not me picking up the phone and speaking to someone off the record and saying, oh, I have an exclusive. Someone has told me off the record they're going to do it. No. That's not what's going on here. This is my viewers. This is you. This is 450,000 YouTube viewers, subscribers, and millions of viewers a day and per week that are picking up the phone and calling and being told after they're advocating, these senators say they're putting it in there. These are not just senators. These are not House members. These are even Speaker of the House. Here is Mark's comment. Mark writes, I picked up the phone. I spoke to Nancy Pelosi's staff, and they said she's added in there $1,000 a month after the first month of $2,000. And the messages are still coming on in, and they're coming on in all last week and the week before. The week before, Donnie's wife called Schumer's office, and last weekend, Friday, Debbie called Schumer's office and Sanders and Warren, and all three indicated the inclusion of that stimulus check provision. Here's what you need to remember is that we have this recon, and it is not a bill. It's not a bill. It's a package. And it's not even on the House floor. It's in the House subcommittee at the moment, the House Budget Subcommittee passed. But they can still add stuff in there, so they say. And they continually say it. The president says it, Pelosi says it, Sheila Jackson, they all say it. Meantime, we have House members who are saying, I got something in there, and I'm worried my thing that's in there is coming out. And then we have other people saying, take out certain things in there. So everything is in flux. Here's what I want to show you with a quote, which is fascinating. A quote that came into the weekend, which was basically saying that everyone is fighting to get things in there or fighting to keep their things in the item. Here's what Lisa Rice, President and CEO of the National Fair Housing Alliance, said. We all have these coalitions of industry. We have all these coalitions of industry groups, civil rights groups, beating down the door of the White House to make sure their provision is in the recon. So we have this recon that is very much in limbo. While it's past $3.5 trillion, they can add stuff in there. And even the stuff that's in there, people are worried their stuff is coming out going into the weekend. The illustrious and beloved Los Angeles legislator, Maxine Waters, who is also the House Services chairwoman, wrote a very, very vigorous letter saying she has a provision already in the recon pass, $300 billion. She's worried it's coming out. She's worried progressives are going to water it down, and she's a progressive. So it shows you that we are very similar to one that we are much like what Rice writes in that comment. The purple power is like those lobbyists. As those lobbyists are advocating for housing to stay in there, we're advocating to include provisions. And just like people are knocking down on the White House's door to add stuff in there, we're knocking on the Congress's doors to add stuff in there, those IRS stimulus checks. Now let's go over what's going on with the recon. Are items coming out? Are items staying in there? And if they are staying in there, what are they changing? We'll go over the representations last week that all items are staying in there. Nothing is getting reduced. And that if anything is getting changed, it's duration of taxes. Let's explain this because this is very important. First, the recon. The progressives all represented last week. Let's see what they say this week. That everything that's in the recon is in there and will not come out and will not get watered down. We can add provisions also in there, but we're not removing anything. For example, $4,000 of elder care staying in there, not coming out. $4,000 of elder care staying in there, not getting watered down to $200. So if they are so correct, then where can they make the changes? Two ways, duration and taxes. Now, ironically, last week started with me saying they can change the duration to bring the recon from the $3.5 trillion price tag into the $2 trillion somewhere. And just a few days later, Jalapal confirmed my report saying, we can change the duration. How did I get that right? Not that hard to get that exclusive was because Bernie did this before. Let's go back in time. Back in July, Bernie Sanders had meetings with the senators saying, I'm thinking of doing a recon. Oh, really, Bernie? What do you want to do? I want to do a $7 trillion recon. No. We're not doing a $7 trillion recon. Choose another number. Okay, I'll split in half, 3.5 trillion. Deal, done. Called it for a vote. That's recon procedural. That's a tow truck. Passed on the Senate side, passed on the House side, it became law. Tow truck passed over the finish line. Then they went over to the House subcommittee and started working on the recon substance, the tow hitch. Passed in the subcommittee, not the House floor, the subcommittee. 3.5 trillion. That's the tow hitch. Not over the finish line yet. So how do they change the duration and bring the price in? Here's an example with using numbers. I'm not saying this is how they did it, but let's go through each of the steps. We know from Bernie, the way he got from 7 trillion to 3.5 trillion was cutting duration. He confirmed that after he did it. How is an example of how you cut duration? Here's just an example of possible numbers. Let's say all the programs in the recon Bernie proposed at 7 trillion were 20-year programs. Then all you have to do is say, okay, we're going to slash it to 10-year programs. So the programs will run 10 years, not 20 years. That will bring the whole package from 7 trillion to 3.5 trillion in a snap of a finger. Very, very simple. Let's do that again right now then. So let's say, for example, everything in the $3.5 trillion recon, for example, are 10-year provisions. Then just switch it to 5-year provisions. Immediately, a $3.5 trillion package goes to half the price tag. 1.7, done. Every moderate Democrat would do 1.7 in a blink of an eye. That means that your $4,000 elder care would be paid each year over 5 potential years that you're eligible, would not be paid year 6, 7, and 8, and 9, and 10 because it's only a 5-year program. That's an example of how you tighten the horizon, the duration, to bring down the price tag by not removing any program or watering down any program and still being able to add money in there. Second way you do it is changing the taxes. Now, this is a little strange because of the following. The recon is paid for by billionaires' taxes and Fortune 500 corporation taxes. Federal government saying they're not paying their fair share. We want to modify the code. Well, the issue is if we're not modifying the code because the recon's smaller, then suddenly we're allowing those tax situations to continue. Yeah, so they're trying to figure out the nuance of that. But here's what you need to know is that we have a $3.5 trillion recon. They can add it in your stimulus checks. They can cut the duration of these programs that are running, upwards of a decade, bring them in tighter, and then they got a deal. Then they got it done. Not very complicated, but they got 20 days to get this done. There we go. And now, with that date now set for your recon by Halloween, not on Halloween, but by Halloween, and also for your roads and bridges, they have an opportunity of finding that common ground across the board. But we're not waiting for that. We're going to get money right now, not 5 weeks from now, not 5 months from now, not 5 years from now, not even 5 days from now. We're going to get this money starting right now, and it's money for rent, utilities, mortgage assistance, money for food, clothing, appliances, and even holiday gifts. Get that pen, paper, cell phone ready. We're going to get all this money right now. If there's something I know how to do, it's get you money. And that's what this channel is about. It's not about tracking a check. It's about cashing checks. And every check I can get you, we're going to get every check. And we're going to do this every single day until you think that you've gotten every last check. And I don't think at the moment you've gotten every last check. So that's why we're doing it, starting right now with rent. We're going to reach out to 6 places. Each place is different pots of money. They also have different eligibility. Listen to the keywords I say in this video. Get ready for the Treasury statement, and then get ready for the nonprofits. All right, here are the 6 places you reach out to. Your city hall, your city house authority. Your county hall, your county house authority. Your state hall, and their state house authority. And the keywords you're going to say are rent assistance because of COVID, mortgage or utility assistance because of COVID. And these are sums of money you can get. Yeah. Nisi at $20,000. She was in the live chat all throughout yesterday. Richard, $22,000. Nancy, $24,000. Mark, $25,000. Elizabeth, $27,000. And now Jen getting $40,000 for rent. When we talk about utilities, we want you to get as well. Reach out to all utility companies. If you got 5, reach out to 5. And now the money has gone from this to $15,000 for utilities. Yeah, the numbers have grown astronomically. Then let's turn to the money that is coming out from Treasury. Last week, I told viewers that an additional $13 billion, wrong graphic, here's the graphic, $13 billion was going out from Treasury to cities and counties and states, red, blue, rich, and poor, more money for rent, and to reach out and get that money right away. That Treasury statement is featured in the newsletter from members to this channel. Hopefully you're a member. The newsletter, the Treasury statement, says something like this. Treasury is happy to provide state and local governments with additional resources to help Americans at a time of rental assistance. Here's one viewer, Prina, who started last week at zero, ended the week with an additional $6,000 because of listen to my videos. My videos got her $6,000. She writes, thank you, Lalate, so much. When you told me about the additional mentioned the additional $13 billion for rent for every state, I immediately pounced, and on it, I emailed the city of Austin, and basically later in the message, she says, I got approved now, rent from November through January, that's $6,000 for 8 months. That's how you do it. Let's turn now to the money for SNAP. I want you to get this money for SNAP, and how much money is it? A lot. It is growing astronomical. SNAP is money for food. You get it from Department of Agriculture, and everyone's SNAP benefits are going up an average of 25% automatically nationwide in the month of October. So Mark's brother-in-law got $21,000 for SNAP. It's now going to $26,000. This is what SNAP looked like a month ago. And I want you to get multiple sums of money. Here's the combo, people. $32,000 for these viewers. Mark, $51,000. I want you to make as many calls and then get ready for the nonprofits, because the nonprofits are paying money as well. I'm going to show you 5 nonprofits. It's important to understand that if you feel like you've reached out to all the city and county and states and you have an eligibility problem, don't worry. Reach out to all the 5 nonprofits. They do the same items generally under third stimulus, just with different eligibility because they're nonprofits. Here they are: United Way, Salvation Army, Community Action, Catholic Charities, and St. Vincent de Paul. What's important to understand is that nonprofits also pay for items the federal government would never pay for, like clothing, homeless people into shelters. They also often give small appliances. They have given viewers of this channel refrigerators, small furnaces, small portable heaters, and even done nominal home repairs like fixed broken windows. They've helped with clothing, and they've helped with other items that are just sort of random. And finally, Salvation Army, now in October, is doing holiday gifts. Don't wait till December, they do it now. Here again, the 5 nonprofits. Reach out to all 5 of them: United Way, Salvation Army, Community Action, Catholic Charities, and St. Vincent de Paul. Next, the money back from unemployment benefits from your state due to overpayment computer error. Yes, the average payment is about $2,000 to $5,000. Reach out to your state. And then the refund check coming back from the federal government on the 2020 tax return you paid taxes on. Average payment is $1,200 to $2,000. Get it. Go to irs.gov to do a transcript search to look it up. Mark got it, Kata got it, Michael got it. If you got any of these sums of money from this channel, post it in the live chat. Finally, if you haven't become a member, what are you doing? The link is under the video. The membership newsletter goes out Monday through Friday, 7 p.m. Pacific Standard Time approximately, from me, written by me, sent via the YouTube alert system and the Lalate alert system, which is totally free. The link to that is under the video. I want you to get all the big sums of money that are available in this newsletter. That's how Johnny started one week at $0. By the middle of the week, him and 2 other people had $40,000. But Johnny kept on continuing, and by the weekend, he got 7 items funded, $80,000. Lorraine, $110,000, going to $120,000. Mark, $51,000. Viewers are getting big sums of money from this channel. Financial independence starts here. I want you to get as much money as you can right now. So consider becoming a member. Make yourself 3 promises right now. First, get this rent and utilities and items as far into 2022 as possible. As Maxine Waters is worried, even her items, she's worried her housing item is going to come out of forced stimulus. You never know when the money's no longer there. Get these sums of money when they're available right now, and get them as far into 2022. I have a volunteer who helped in 2020 a lot of people. She got rent in early 2020. She got rent in early 2021. She just got more rent from 2021 into 2022. That shows you what you do. Next, lean on the nonprofits. It's cooler outside, but it's not cold yet. The nonprofits have quick turnaround times right now. Big praises going out to St. Vincent de Paul and United Way with quick turnaround times for rent, as viewers are reporting. But as soon as it gets cold, they get slowed down because they get a lot of calls. So reach out to them now for all these different pots of money. Finally, advocate, because we got a big recon. The tow truck has passed over the finish line. They've agreed to do a recon, and the price tag $3.5 trillion. The tow hitch is hitched up to the tow truck. It has a past recon out of a subcommittee of the House, but that tow truck with the tow hitch has not passed over the finish line because it first has to finish the recon out of the subcommittee to the House, and it's being worked on a little bit more with people trying to take things out and people trying to add things in there. It goes to the House floor and can get modified there. Then it goes to the Senate, can be modified there. The senators represent, they're modifying and adding things into that tow hitch for you. Remember, there's other people on that highway that are trying to cut in front of you and trying to get their stuff added to the tow truck. But remember, you're in the driver's seat. Get in that driver's seat, get that tow truck over the finish line and advocate, because there's about $15,000 of money in this recon for you so far. But if you want more, it's time to be that driver of that truck. And the drivers of the truck start right here with that advocacy. And we got a big lineup of shows today, starting up with overnight's crypto currently playing on the channel. Then morning's countdown coming up next at 7 o'clock. Morning's Lalate at 9 o'clock live. Then noontime at 11 a.m. Morning's crypto at 10 a.m. Sorry to forget about that show. And then a whole slate programming later today. And with that, subscribe. 400,000 subscribers, a YouTube record. I want you part of this family. Hit that subscribe button right now. Like the video, 2,000 to 3,000 likes, and consider becoming a member. Purple Hawk, Purple Power, Casino VIP. Stay informed, stay focused. Have a beautiful morning. And the toast is toasting, the butter is buttering. And I'll see you next on LA.